Canola School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Alberta Canola Producers Commission, Sask Canola, and Manitoba Canola Growers.
Okay. My name is Brittany Hennig, and I'm the agronomy specialist with the Canola Council of Canada. I work in the southern Alberta territory, but I'm originally from Fort Saskatchewan area.
So farmers that are trying to get into the fields and they're finding conditions are still too wet, what recommendations do you have for them?
As we all know, a couple days across the prairies can have a major effect on the conditions in the field. So broadcasting is an option, but it's not, it's still May 10th. It's not the end of the world yet. We still have the rest of May to seed. If we get into later on in May, that is an option, but ultimately, if we can get in and place the seed correctly and place the fertilizer correctly, it's going to give you your best yields. We all have those, we've heard of those success stories. I've experienced success stories with broadcasting, but there's a lot of factors that come into play to make sure that the crop does come out of the ground properly and you do get the best yield.
And have you seen any issues with disease or seed quality coming into this year?
When there is crop left on the field, there is a high rate of disease because there's fungus and disease produced within that residue. Talking about seed coming in, like checking it, unharvested canola acres, going in and seeing how the quality is. We are seeing, about a number 2 coming in, canola in swaths, as well as like 40 to 60% cracking. So definitely make sure you're getting, we do have seed treatments on canola, but even for your other crops, make sure you're getting certified and treating your seed. We did have just that late, the most recent snow. Before that, guys were taking their standing canola in, and that was coming in at number 1, which was surprising. But coming in after that snow, another snow, with swath canola, it's coming moldy, cracked, and just ultimately not the best. But there are some oil processors that are still, oilseed processors that are accepting oil or canola seed. So definitely check with them. Take in a sample and see if it's still usable for feed and the food market.
So do you have any numbers in regards to how many acres are unharvested here?
In Alberta, I think the report came out close to 1 million acres, so around 960,000 acres. That was a week ago. And I do know that people were able to get out in the field last weekend and get some acres off. So current number, I'm not totally sure, but there are drastic up north in central Alberta.
So when producers call you for advice in regards to their canola conditions, what is the first thing you tell them?
Ultimately, I ask them what state their field is in. In southern Alberta, it's obviously a little bit different. We're ranging from 30 to 90% completed in the area, where some areas are almost too dry. When we get to the northern and southern and across the other prairies, you need to check with your insurance, see, make sure you're not breaking any recommendation or restrictions within your policies. And, if there is any losses to claim, you need to assess them and put in a claim. And then after that, you need to, get the crop off so we can make sure that seed bed is prepared for 2017 season as well.
What are the procedures when it comes to getting your crop off?
So like I said, go through insurance, figure out the baseline there, and ultimately check with your oilseed producers. If you do have still canola left out, see if they will accept it. But we really want to avoid not seeding into swaths. Equipment is made to seed through residue and get that seed properly in the seed bed. But seeding through swaths, our equipment isn't handled for that, and so you're not going to establish your crop properly, and it's not going to be able to flourish like it should. As well as spraying. We don't want to go off label and spray on to seed that could be used in the feed and food market. As well as underneath that swath, there's a lot of volunteer crop, which is what we're trying to target and get rid of. So we need to address those two things first.
Would you say broadcast seeding is something producers should be looking at if they can't get into their field soon?
Ultimately, if broadcasting does become an option, a floater does run quite quickly. It can cover a lot of acres in a short amount of time, and if there are a lot of unseeded acres later on in the season that needs to be put in the ground, it's definitely a good option to go with.
And what are some of the downfalls to broadcast seeding?
Yeah, broadcasting, you have your risks. So if you put in your nitrogen, you float in your nitrogen, you're going to have volatilization. You're not going to have proper P placement. So it depends on what soil type. There's a lot of factors. What your past fertilizer procedures have been, what type of soils you have, how you've managed it in the fall or how you prepare it in the spring, and how much time you have later to incorporate it as well.
Is there anything you'd like to add?
So when we're seeding into wet soils, we need to take into account the seed bed and how much moisture there is, right? So if it's unfavorable conditions, we want to go with the more 6 to 8 plants per square foot. And if it's more favorable, we can bring that back to 4 to 6 plants per square foot. And in order to correctly calculate that with your seed weight and seed density, you can go online to the canolacalculator.ca and just pop in some numbers and it'll come up with your seeding rate. It's super easy and it's new to this year.